Hey, a lot of you guys asked me to review this video by Leonidas. It's called What I Eat in a Day to Stay Lean and Jacked.
What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you a much-awaited video. Full day of eating with Leonidas. As many of you may know, I've been following a 100% plant-based diet for the last 2 years. And right now...
I was going to say that he has visible dark eye circles and the vegan paleness. Not the kind of paleness you get from not going into the sun. It's the sickly, anemic kind of paleness.
I'll be showing you everything that I eat in a day to stay healthy, stay lean, and maximize my longevity. So what you'll
That's some pretty bold claims. We'll see.
see is that it's a very simple diet that most of you can replicate. It is inexpensive, tasty, efficient.
Inexpensive? Maybe, if you will be eating seeds. It's food for the masses. As far as tasty goes, I don't know how I could possibly agree to that.
And most importantly, evidence-based. So I'm excited to share these meals with you. 3 meals a day, and this covers everything you need. So this will probably lower your blood pressure, lower your cholesterol, optimize your microbiome, and you'll even see that the micronutrients are through the roof, given how low the calories are.
Right. The problem is, of course, that micronutrients in food itself have never been measured, not even one of them, seeing as they are not visible with the eye, obviously, anyway, but also with any tools. But this is a whole different topic. I just wanted to point out that really this is irrelevant, but I understand why people talk about this. Yeah.
So you will not be deficient in anything. So you see the numbers on the screen, you can pull.
Well, that's the thing. It's much more important to rely on your own senses, in this case your eyes. And if a human being doesn't look healthy, then no matter what micronutrients or whatever you want to talk about, whatever kind of beliefs, it's not gonna matter. If you look at a vegan, 99% of the time they will not look healthy. There's very few exceptions to this, and it's usually people who just started a few weeks or months ago. They may still look fine. Yeah. I don't know how old this guy is. I tried to look it up before I started filming the video, but some sources say that he's 27, some say 30, some say 40. Maybe you know what his real age is? I have no idea.
Plug it in yourself. You are all set with this diet. This is what I eat most of the time. There's a variation. And if you want more videos like this, let me know. So without further ado, let's get into the full day of eating. Here is a breakfast that I have 9 out of 10 times, and I've been doing so.
In this lighting, you can see it even better. It doesn't matter what beliefs you have about your food. If it makes you sick, then you shouldn't be eating it. You shouldn't be following this man-made diet.
For many years. I want to say at least since 2018, which is so simple and anyone can replicate this. What we have here is 30 grams of rolled oats. When I'm trying to shred down, I'll cut it down to 15 grams. I never really get rid of the oats. Whereas if I'm bulking, it'll be 50 to 100 grams, as well as 200 grams of blueberries. And these are wild frozen blueberries, which is a little hack if you don't want to go organic. Not that it makes a massive difference, but these are a very good source of antioxidants.
It would make a difference because the organic ones will be sprayed and the wild ones shouldn't be. But then again, sometimes they use the label wild, and by that they actually mean so-called wild cultivated berries, which makes no sense, but there's some loopholes. If it would actually be wild blueberries, that would be all right. But at the end of the day, he's just eating a bunch of sugar with fiber.
Amazing for brain health, and it's perfect to start the day where you're going to be tackling on your more
Who knows what he even means? Amazing for your brain health. Vegans especially just throw around some terms, say some sentences which make no sense, cannot be proven. Seeds, processed seeds, and blueberries are good for your brain health. Who knows what he means by that? But people who are ignorant will just eat it up, kind of literally, after the video.
Relatively difficult tasks. So this is what I do if I'm working on client programs, scripting, anything where I need to be all there mentally, especially for writing. I need to have my blueberries. Sometimes I'll mix in frozen berries, but usually that'll be reserved for a protein shake, which would also...
But how does that make sense? Your brain is made out of animal fat. Have you never seen a brain in your life? I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't. Why would little berries help you? Who knows?
Also contain strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, then with 1 or 2 scoops of pea protein powder. So oats are very good for lowering cholesterol.
Pea protein powder is a waste product, by the way. It's the leftovers that they process into a powder and then just sell it to the slave population because they have no idea about food, what they should be eating. So they believe that eating powders of waste products is reasonable. Not that they understand that it is a waste product. They actually believe that they specifically make them for the population, as if these companies have your health in their minds.
They're low in fat, they're easy to digest, and you can even work out right after and not feel all bloated. And then with the berries, that's the ultimate combination. You should be eating berries every single day. That should be a non-negotiable. It's the most important fruit that you could be consuming, more so than the juicy kind. So oats, berries, and we have 5 grams of flaxseed, just a little bit of healthy fats, if you will, for the ALA, which apparently is more important than DHA. So I used to take a algae-based supplement to get my omega-3s directly, but I stopped doing that. Maybe I'll introduce it.
Completely religious beliefs. As I said, none of these have actually been observed. They cannot be identified, isolated. You're just completely religiously believing something. And vegans, and also bodybuilders, and he's both actually, do that especially much. They just completely rely on pills, powders, supplements. They have no idea really what they are doing, what they are consuming. And when you combine both, it can end really badly. And this is the result of absolute ignorance. Just believing something. ALA, DHA.
Future, but right now I just go to the main precursor, being the flax seeds and the walnuts, which I'm not having today, but I'll just only have one. And then every other day I'll alternate in a Brazil nut, because just one contains everything you need for your daily selenium. In fact, it might be too much, so that's why I alternate. This is all there is to it. I got some cinnamon in there too. There's no sugar, there's no syrup, there's no jams, there's no artificial sweeteners. To me, this tastes fantastic. Oh, and regarding the oats, I keep it simple with the rolled. A lot of guys will gravitate towards the steel cut kind, or even oat groats, which are even better for your microbiome, but this still gets the job done.
Why would it be good for your microbiome? He just, again, says stuff. No proof, cannot be proven anyway. Really a lot of religious beliefs. Guys really not living in this reality whatsoever. Wow.
And I don't want to have to wait that long to cook my oats. I just want to honestly just pop it in the microwave and get to work. So this is something you can do in less than 5 minutes. So that's it. And we got a little coffee. I used to drink a lot more. Just have...
Yeah, we can see that. Oh man, this is bad. Yeah, this is really bad. I understand why you guys want me to review this.
a tiny amount of soy milk in here. I've been drinking coffee since I'm in grade 4. So
okay, let's just actually sum up what he's eating here, in case you're blind like him and don't see it. He has seeds, which are essentially inedible, in the bowl with tons of sugar, so that it becomes somewhat palatable. That's what they always do. And then he has toxic, poisonous seed water in the glass with soy milk, which has processed seeds again, mixed with water and some kind of synthetic vitamins, sometimes inside also, minerals, some leftovers from the metal industry and whatnot. They use some super crazy stuff from the coal industry. Yeah, that's it. Think about it. It's seeds, 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 and blueberries, most likely with pesticides.
In a lifetime. I've gone periods of time where I dropped it completely, and honestly, I'm just happier with coffee in my life, so screw it. And the data on coffee drinkers appears to be fine. You know, people who drink
Yeah, the data, some epidemiology, some boxes that some people ticked. Do you feel good? Yes. Do you drink coffee? Yes. Okay, coffee is good for you. New study from Harvard. Coffee is healthy. Oh, you think that I'm joking? Man, that's how they make studies. What else do you do? Irrelevant. As long as you drink coffee and you feel good, box ticked, coffee is healthy. We did a study on 5,000 people. Perfect, factual, scientific proof. And people like this fall for that.
3 cups a day are in a good position. Now, green tea is even healthier, and
Yeah, green tea. Toxic green poisonous leaves made into a drink. Boiled down leaves, powders made out of the toxic green leaves, which stimulate your body or adrenalize it, whatever you want to call it. And that's why you're awake, because you're being poisoned. People are just completely detached from reality, man.
I'll accept that position. So is having hibiscus tea, which I consume on the regular. But I don't think this is harming me, especially I only drink this first thing in the morning. I do not have coffee in the afternoon or at nighttime, or else it gives me insomnia. And I think that's one of the problems that people go through.
Yeah, and again, why would it do that? If it was good for you or anything close to that. You cannot sleep simply because your body is being poisoned. And the body is trying to detox from the poisons the whole time. And once it detoxes, you can sleep and rest again. That's what coffee is. You poison yourself, you're alert for whatever, 6-8 hours. And when your body detoxes from the toxins, then you can be at rest again. So you're poisoning yourself. You're microdosing poisons, that's it. If you would drink a lot of coffee at once or eat powder, you would literally die. Because it would be too much for your system, your heart specifically.
They're shredded, they're tired. Time your caffeine right. With this meal right here,
you cannot time your caffeine right because it's poison. There's no good time to drink poison.
You can either work or work out. It covers you on both ends. That's my breakfast. All right, now I bring you to arguably
with that stupid smile.
the most important meal of the day, lunchtime, which features a...
I can already see some green leaves. Nice, because you're a herbivore. Yeah.
Massive salad with beans and the primary carb source, which...
Yes, of course, little green seeds, some cultivated man-made carrots, corn. Lovely.
Also has more vegetables. So, over here, we have arugula with lettuce, in addition to a 4-bean mixture with raw onion on top.
Think about it. People nowadays voluntarily eat green leaves, rabbit food with beans, little toxic seeds, which you cannot eat in their raw form because you would die. You would have such insane digestive issues, you would be screaming. And with more seeds in the pot and man-made vegetables which don't exist in nature. Super severe mind control.
And what's on it is balsamic vinegar, no oil whatsoever, no salt, not one drop of either. I'm
No salt, at least something. Not gonna help you though.
SOS free. And then the beans is...
Okay, does this look appetizing? Does it look like food? Or does it just look like a human being that's brainwashed? Indirectly, obviously. Does it look like the human being who's going to be eating it is brainwashed? Of course, that's what it looks like. Yeah, this is what you ate during the famines in the world wars, especially during World War II. And that's when canned beans became popular. That's it. That's all that there is to it. It's famine food. And you look like you are going through a famine. That he's even walking and doing stuff is amazing in a way. And he looks very sick, but you get something out of this garbage, you're gonna look very sick, because you're gonna be sick, obviously, because when you look sick, you are sick. Hopefully that's needless to say. But you can still walk and do something. You can kind of survive. It's amazing.
Kidney, black bean, navy, and chickpea. So I'm getting a lot of diversity here that's fantastic for your microbiome. Why would you just...
Yeah, of course. Beans are so fantastic. That's why you get the gas and you fart and you smell, because it's just so good for you. Yeah, it's so logical what you're saying. This is my favorite video ever made.
limit yourself to one bean? That's not the only bean. In here, we also got 50 grams of lentils. And I cook everything.
Nice. I love it. You're just getting all the micronutrients, man.
From dry. I don't bother with the canned stuff because you save a lot more money doing it this way. And it actually tastes better as well. So this was prepared the night before. It's also my meal prep when I take care of that on the Sunday. So this is the bed of the greens. So the arugula is really good for nitric oxide production. You can also swap in beets, but be careful with the oxalates. This is my primary green of choice. I prefer this over, say, spinach or Swiss chard. And then the balsamic vinegar helps activate some of the phytochemicals. The raw onion is anti-cancer, of course, because
vinegar helps you to activate the phytonutrients. And it's also against cancer. Completely religious beliefs, just making stuff up. Probably you read something on Dr. Michael Greger's site and just believes it blindly.
some hemp seeds, which also aid in the absorption, and you're getting some high protein in there as well. And then this right here, I'll be consuming entirely to myself. It's 120 grams of dry rice and 60 grams dry quinoa. There's also 100 grams of Macedonian vegetables, which is corn, carrots, peas. Sometimes they add these little beans in there too, but not this time. As well as mushrooms, which are anti-angiogenesis. So all I do is I take some scoops and I dump it on this huge bed of salad.
You couldn't pay me anything to eat this kind of garbage. But what's most interesting about this is that you can see that humans are brainwashed, obviously, but even beyond that, you can see how they have seeds and green leaves in front of them, but they don't listen to their senses, even when they eat it, and it tastes horrible, and they are completely bloated, full of gas, because they cannot digest it. It's not human food. They ignore all of that and talk about how vinegar activates phytonutrients. What phytonutrients? Show me one phytonutrient. You can't, because you cannot absorb them. Show me how it helps against cancer, which is a whole different story. Show me anything that you just said. Prove that. You can't. What I mean is that this guy is really under a magic spell. If he isn't, then who is? That's what I always say, because this is beyond brainwashing. This is just you being completely lost, you living in a different reality. You have non-human, indigestible food in front of you. It's indigestible because it's not natural for us to eat it. That's why you cook it, of course. That's why you process the food as much as possible. And that's why he attaches himself to these religious beliefs, because that's supposed to explain why you can eat it after all. It doesn't matter how your senses react to it. It's all about what I read, as I said, on Gregor's site or whatever kind of site, or what I heard from some videos. That's it. Nothing is based on anything real. Nothing is factual with these kind of people. He is the perfect example of what I always talk about.
In addition to the beans, so already my plate is overflowed. And this is like just a warm-up. I still have all this to eat. And what you'll essentially be able to get, so once I finish this, okay, I go straight into just eating directly out of here, because now my greens and beans are taken care of. And that'll usually equate to about 4 or 5 bowls. So yeah, I do have a massive appetite. I was bear mode.
Yeah, to say the least, right? Because you're starving, essentially, of course.
A number of years. It hasn't been easy to stay lean until I adopted this plant-based way of eating. Because now you can stuff in so much food, micronutrients through the roof, but the calories are on the lower end. So this is like, I mean, one plate already.
Even if you want to believe in that, that makes no sense. Officially, plants don't have over 50 micronutrients. So if you want to believe that, that would still make zero sense. If you would be eating organs, then you would be overloading with so-called micronutrients.
And there's still so much more to go. The calories in this is not that high. So in the cutting phase, obviously, you just have this and you call it. And you might reduce the mixed beans from 200 grams down to 150 or even 125. But I'm getting the majority of the calories through this carb source, and that's what makes me feel good. So it's very much a high carb, low fat way of eating. And of course, you don't really see it, but there's kale mixed in here as well, 100 grams. So I'm getting multiple variations of greens, starchy vegetables, my rice, which is easy to...
And no matter how much he tries to act, you can just see that he feels sick and depressed. It's very clear. I can see through it right away. I know when somebody is genuinely happy. You can see it in the eyes. Even through a video, I would say, in real life anyway, but I can just see it. I see that it's him acting. You cannot even feel good when you have so much indigestible and toxic food in your gut. How would that even make sense? You cannot eat starvation, vegan rabbit food, which hurts your gut, and then still say that you feel good. Not that he's claiming that he's happy, but the way he talks, he's implying that he's healthy. He said that he is doing this to improve his lifespan.
Digest, low in fat, and then the beans, protein, more carbs, everything's being absorbed well. Like, this is healthy eating, guys. If I eat this exact portions, I'll be able to maintain this weight.
You can also tell that he's really overreacting. He's really trying to emphasize how healthy it is, likely because he knows that it's not healthy. And then he shows on the left side his physique, which is supposed to show that it is healthy after all. Ignore my dark eye circles, the paleness, the misery, which is shining through. Look at my physique. I go to the gym. I work out. I push and pull man-made metal. That means that no matter what you say about the way I look like health-wise, I'm still healthy because of that. Which is obviously nonsense, because pushing and pulling metal has as little to do with your health as anything possibly could. The same as cutting your grass and saying that cutting grass is healthy. Some nonsense, because it's unrelated. What's the relation? There's nothing.
Around 12% body fat-ish. And if I want to go 10, even single digit, then I eat the exact same.
Yeah, it's crazy brainwashing. It's the vegan diet plus the gym brainwashing, believing that building muscle, pumping yourself up, has something to do with your health. Yeah. It's the worst of both so-called worlds combined.
Things. That doesn't change, just less of it. You know, obviously I don't have to have this whole freaking thing. And you're still going to be full just off that. And sometimes what you could even do is you can mix this in a whole grain or protein-based wrap. So it's going to fill you up with even less quantity of all this. And speaking about making your food taste better, because I know a lot of you guys like to add cheese, this is a better alternative. Nutritional yeast, full of B.
This is like a parody. This is what I always talk about. They want cheese, which is why they add nutritional yeast. Oh man.
Vitamins, high in protein, barely any calories, and it tastes amazing. So it's a little vegan hack.
Prove that. Prove what's inside of there. Prove that calories exist. It's an idea, man. No food on earth has calories.
If you know, you know. I've been having this stuff for years. And you just douse your food in it. It is so good. This is how I make all my creamy sauces. It just adds that extra touch of goodness. That is delicious. Absolutely delicious. And you can see my plate.
And you can see how all of a sudden it's more delicious all of a sudden because it imitates cheese. It's better because you don't taste the green leaves so much anymore. And you eat green leaves believing that it's good for you, but at the same time, you cover up the taste. Yeah, this is absolute denial. It's sad. Yeah, it's just insane brainwashing.
Is overflowed. After this, I'm gonna have a little snack. I'll also finish off with an orange and an apple. The apple just cleans out your teeth. As they say, one apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's basic, you don't need it. Sometimes I alternate with a pear.
Apples nowadays have been completely cultivated. They're also pretty strongly sprayed, waxed also on the outside to keep them for years. Yes. Yeah, whatever.
But the orange, it's either this or tangerines. So you want to get your juicy fruits in addition to your berries. Just don't have one exclusively. If I'm too full after having that large meal, I might have this 2 or 3 hours later in between, leading up to my supper, or maybe after the supper. But the point is, never skip the fruits. And of course, when you get your vitamin C, it also helps with your iron absorption. For all you thinking that you need to consume endless amounts of red meat, that is untrue. If you get all your whole plant foods and you think about the synergy, so the garlic, the onions, the lentils, and then the orange, just off that, you're gonna have no problems with iron.
That's pretty funny because he looks like the definition of anemia, really.
At least you shouldn't. So don't think that you need to be compelled to eat certain foods, because I don't get heme iron in my diet. And actually, that's a pro-oxidant, something you want to avoid. You don't want to be at higher levels of iron as a man. We have no way of really getting rid of it. And actually, you can even cook in a cast iron pan. If after all this, you're still not good, but you should be just fine. All right, guys, now I bring you to my third and final meal of the day. Check out this massive supper. We only eat big over here. As you can see, we have a lot of sweet potatoes. In actuality, I'll be consuming 500 grams, but I couldn't fit all that on the plate alongside these other goodies, which is half a block of tofu. This way, I can finish it the next day, and then this allows me to alternate between tofu and tempeh, but this is my...
Tofu tempeh, to imitate meat. That's what it looks like also. Cooked meat looks like cooked chicken or whatever. Always the same.
Primary protein source, as well as good old broccoli. And what's on it is a...
It's bad old broccoli. It's a toxic green flower. You're not gonna eat it raw. And even cooked, it tastes horrible.
A special vinaigrette. This is blended leek with garlic, spices, a little bit of vinegar, and split peas, 50 grams. So I'm getting a lot of protein in this meal. Of course, it is starch base. If I'm in a bulking phase, it will be the same kind of meal, but with pasta instead. But when I'm trying to stay lean, and of course get all my micronutrients at the same time, this is a food you can't go wrong with. So I recommend you have sweet potato and regular potato mixed in, but this is obviously better. Purple sweet potato being the highest level that you can get, and it's what the Okinawans used to eat to become centenarians.
Oh my god, he's also brainwashed about that. I've said this before a million times, but I'll say it again in case you haven't heard it. The Okinawans eat completely pork-based. Everything is cooked in lard, which is pork fat, and they also eat raw goat meat, raw fish. Their diet is basically 90% animals. Absolutely almost no vegetables. A little bit of rice here and there. They eat completely animal-based. And the thing is that they always did that, obviously, because all humans did. And then World War II came. The pigs were destroyed. They had hardly any pigs on the island. Okinawa, by the way, is also called the island of pork, because that's all that they eat there. And then these researchers came there and wrote down that they eat a lot of sweet potatoes because they had no pork. They were starving, just like a lot of people during the World Wars. And Japan was obviously involved in it. That's why they suffered so much. And then they published this saying that people in Okinawa live long lives because they eat sweet potatoes. Once the famine was over, they went back to eating pork again, which is how they eat there still today. The people in Okinawa live so long because their diet is 80-90% pork, and tons of raw meat also from goats and fish, hardly any seeds or vegetables. Most of the Okinawans, funnily enough, have never even tried sweet potatoes. Those purple sweet potatoes, Most people don't even eat it there. I've talked to tons of people who have been there, who have family members who live there, and they don't even know what sweet potatoes are. That's how much you were lied to. It's such a scam. And people who have never been there, they just fall for it. Yeah.
Look at the blue zones, 80% of their diet was sweet potatoes. So
Oh my god, man, yeah. Sometime in the 40s, it may have been, just like in Ireland, they were eating almost only potatoes because they had no meat. But it was for a super short period.
a myth that potatoes get you fat. This is how I've gone shredded the
Well, that's true. You would be starving if you would only eat potatoes, or mostly.
last 2 times, eating primarily a starch-based diet. You should be having potatoes on a weekly basis. If you're not going through bags of it, to me, there's a problem. And this is the #1 choice, and it's been a staple in many bodybuilding diets. So it's not really
It's interesting that he eats a starch-based diet because Dr. McDougall obviously suffered immensely because of it. He eventually developed dementia, as you could see in his videos. He was very emaciated, and then he died. The family didn't want to release the cause of death for obvious reasons.
What's good about the tofu is that in areas of the world where soy consumption is highest, we have lower rates of breast and prostate cancer. Soy is a health-promoting food if you look at the data. There's other things you can argue about if you're going organic or not, but at the end of the day,
Again, he's talking about association, correlation studies. That's it. Just trying to link something to something. Not actual scientific studies where experiments are done, which you could easily do, even on rats or whatever kind of animals. And then you could prove if soy is healthy or not.
this is a very good way to get your protein in. And then broccoli, that is a superfood. You might find it overrated, a little bit too simple, but I mean, there's not much to say about it. You have the sulforaphane, which is
A toxin which is released when an animal tries to eat the flower. They die from it. Go on.
anti-cancer.
Yeah, anti-cancer. Well, actually it kind of is, but not in the way that you think, because that's a whole different topic. Actually, the opposite way of how he means it.
Fills you up. So I typically go through 500 grams one sitting, and the micronutrients are through the roof. Like if you do this combined with broccoli sprouts, which apparently have 50 times the amount of sulforaphane for a small amount, then you're flying. And then the leaf
Flying. Yes, exactly. You're gonna be farting so much that you're gonna fly into the air. A sulforaphane fart, it's so strong. The bloating is so huge. If you combine both, you're gonna be flying. Actually, he's making sense. That's the only good thing he said so far.
are also anti-cancer. And as you'll notice, there's no oil on this. So all I have to do is start dumping this, and it's gonna
Yeah, guaranteed dementia. Absolutely. He's never gonna pull this off anyway. I give him 1 or 2 more years.
And there you have it, guys. That's my first full day of eating. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot about nutrition. If you want to see more videos like this, where I give you variations on healthy, whole food, plant-based eating, then comment down below, plant strong, and I'll be sure to give you that. This is a win-win situation. At least consider eating more plant-based or go all the way. The best thing you can do is drop your saturated fat intake, lower your sodium, and just up some of the healthiest foods on the planet.
You don't have to lower the sodium. Sodium is naturally found in food. But I guess that he means that you shouldn't be consuming salt, which is a whole different story. That's really the only good thing about his diet, but it's not gonna help anyway.
That are very high in micronutrients and lower in calories. So you're looking for those phytochemicals. Eating foods that, when you look at long-term data, actually improve your health.
Long-term data. Long-term? Where is this long-term data? And even if you show some data, it's gonna be a correlation anyway. But even then, what do you mean by long-term? This has never been done long-term anyway.
While preventing and even reversing some of the most common diseases that plague Western society. So do your part. I hope this video was insightful, and I'll talk to you next time.
Well, from this photo, it looks like he's on some kind of PEDs. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let's go over his claims. He said that it's healthy to eat like this. He doesn't look healthy whatsoever. Then he said that it increases your lifespan. He didn't even talk about it. Who knows what he meant by that? There's no proof for this, obviously. But when it comes to bodybuilding, when you look at correlation studies, which may mean something, you can use it as an indicator of something, but that's about it. You can see that the more you work out, the shorter your lifespan is going to be. And that makes sense because stress decreases your lifespan. And if he actually is using some kind of PEDs, then obviously it's going to be even worse for his lifespan. And we have a lot of examples of this. Typically, people who hop on PEDs age very quickly, and they also die pretty young. He also said that the food is inexpensive. I believe him. Green leaves, broccoli, just flowers. He eats green leaves, flowers, and seeds. Grains, beans, it's all just seeds. And the seeds of the plants are the most toxic parts. It's the parts of the plant that the plant really doesn't want you to eat because it's the baby of the plant. It's the most protected part of the plant. Eating seeds is the worst idea. Or consuming seed water, which is what coffee is. You're absolutely going to be poisoning yourself. That's also what's going to cause those dark eye circles. And he said that the food is tasty. I didn't see him enjoying the food in any of the clips, except for maybe when he added the nutritional yeast to the green poisonous leaves. But even then it was for 3 seconds because maybe his body thought that he's about to eat cheese. Because when you're vegan, you become delusional. You imitate dairy, meat all the time. That's what he did with the tofu also. He said that he eats tofu, tempeh. It's always to imitate meat. Cooked meat, grilled meat. It's always the same. They just fantasize about meat. Actually, surprisingly, he didn't really use any red sauces. He's kind of following that natural, in huge quotes, McDougall kind of diet, the clean kind of no oil, no salt also diet, which is the only good part. As we could see, it didn't work out for McDougall, to say the least. How come he didn't learn anything from that? It seems like there's still quite a few people who follow this kind of starch-based, no oil diet. They have this fat phobia. They eat tons of indigestible tubers, seeds. They are bloated all day long. They completely ignore their body. It's your body telling you that you're eating unnatural, indigestible food. And they ignore it and instead talk about micronutrients, how it increases your lifespan. They talk about sulforaphane. They just eat green leaves, flowers and seeds and expect to be healthy. And then people still don't understand what I mean when I said that people are under a magic spell. Come on. Thanks for watching.